went to a crystal shop here and got some nice crystal bracelets.
Cool. What kind of crystals?
A bunch. Got a bunch of bracelets.
Cool.
Yeah. Getting that woo woo energy in my life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so much more cognizant and understanding of the spiritual energetics side of life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You do a podcast on coming out of doing, coming into being.
Right. Yeah. That's where my philosophy is at too. Like, I'm kind of my philosophy is almost like anti achieving. It sounds contradictory, but like
Yeah.
there's like I even though it was like psychedelic induced, I've had like moments of like profound clarity in my life where I kind of noticed that all of the uh, like
Ultra outcome focused, like destination
right,
focused.
yeah, like the old Alan
It's
Watts thing
like,
about how to think about life as a journey when it really is about it's not about going, it's about arriving kind of thing.
yeah, and like there will never be, um, there will always be somewhere next and the next thing. And so the idea that we'll somehow make it is usually
Yeah, yeah,
but
it's
when you
like
focus,
it's like once you're totally like at peace with where you are, then you're essentially in your comfort zone, and it's like people, all the Instagram trainer people are like, you have to achieve, you have to do, but it's like I have this kind of belief that you don't, or you don't as long as you have enough appreciation for the present moment,
yeah,
right?
no, exactly.
Like some high achiever executive busting his balls on 80 hours a week is probably not as happy as like someone like myself who works 10 to 15 hours a week and just minimizes a bunch of expenses and spends the rest of his time with his family. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what happens? A lot of these people end up getting the success and the family and the wife, but they aren't connected to it because they don't know how to relax and be into it and be of a vibration that allows the appreciation of just the being.
Yeah.
And then you'll inevitably feel like an outsider of your own life because
Or to think about it one way, it's like we're after these emotional states, like you said before, and like the emotional state of gratitude is because I have these moments where I'm just like sitting there like watching TV, and I got my 2.5 girls with me,
yeah.
and I'm just like holy fuck, this is real, like this is fucking great, I fucking love this shit, It's like
Right.
yeah, just yeah, gratitude. It's like out of all the
Well,
spiritual concepts, it's like that's one of the most like non woo woo, just like there's nothing mystical about gratitude. It's just that
mhm.
this wholesome energy of reality.
But in order for you to experience gratitude, you have to create enough space, like essentially just in your mind and your thoughts of, because if you were like, oh, I need to do this and I need to get to this tomorrow and I haven't finished this yet, and like if your mind was wandering on the incessant like mind chatter, then essentially you wouldn't have the space to be grateful.
Hmm.
And I believe it's what naturally comes to the surface when we create space, when we are still, essentially, like
Hmm.
what meditation and everything is looking towards achieving is reaching this state of non-identification with all of who you are and your, you know, just life stuff, like your dramas, your problems, your whatever. And when you no longer are identifying with those parts of the physical reality, then the natural spirit within you allows to just like manifest its pure intelligence, which is like the love and the joy and the gratitude, the enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm reading the physical copy of Untethered Soul. I've listened to it lots on Audible, but now I'm listening to it while reading along, slash just reading it. And I put a bunch of stickies all over my RV. I got these clear sticky notes if you ever want to like look like the schizophrenic from A Beautiful Mind. Everyone walks into my room and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then they're like, "Oh, it's a sticky note." Everyone thinks I'm like legit writing on the walls.
Oh, do you like plaster a bunch of them and like draw big things? Like
No,
the
it's
sticky
mostly
notes?
just words. My laptop won't live for very long. Stuff like that. But at
Mm-hmm.
home, it's like, yeah.
Right, right.
I put like the qualities of love and fear in a big like love is and this like big thing, and then like fear, all these qualities to just kind of remind like, fear closes down, love opens up, fear, you know, restricts, constraint, like all the qualities of fear,
Uh-huh.
just as like a daily reminder.
Cool.
Yeah, the whole premise of the Untethered Soul is to constantly, essentially, like, there's this term samskara, and a samskara is when you've either clung to something or resisted something. Like you're trying to hold on to a nice event or memory, or, there's been like a trauma or an emotional wound, and essentially you didn't just allow it to be and pass, you like
Right,
held on to it.
right.
And so we accumulate in our lifetime all these samskaras, and essentially what it does is it causes our hearts to close. And he's like, the simplest way to never let your heart close, or and essentially like those create literal like energy blockages. And we end up trying to just avoid pain at all costs. So we make our life as like predictable and quote unquote safe as possible, which ultimately is the biggest trap ever. And doesn't actually lead to safety or anything. But yeah, he's like, how do you keep your heart open? Just never let it close. He puts things in such like simplistic ways. I like read a bunch of like reviews on his book a long time ago after I read it, and when I was still a lot more in like the skeptic and questioning everything phase, which I still do just out of curiosity, but there's so many Karens that were just like dissing on his approach so much, and it's just like, you're missing the point, obviously. But I get what you're saying, because
My
you
heart's
can
so
only get
open
that
because I'm
concept.
so right, okay? I'm so right and my heart's so open about how right I am.
Yeah, well, and it's just like, if you're, and I totally understand this, like after going through like a big emotional trauma of my own, and like just going through that, you cannot access that level of awareness of your consciousness while you're in the painful state, or essentially like while you're lost.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and some people can stay lost for entire lifetimes.
It's interesting. I think it's cool that like you distill it down to love and fear. It's like during the pandemic, all the mandatey things. It was like I feel like there's safety. You're talking about like safety and putting yourself in a safe place, in a predictable place, and it's like the opposite of what I strive for. Like even though it is nice to be in the comfort zone, I guess I do put myself in uncomfortable positions in order to I don't know learn,
Bro.
grow, but also make money.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah.
like in literal sense. But also I like that I don't like it because I haven't worked very much, but I will be working quite a bit once spring comes. So, but
Yeah.
it's another reason why I like my tree climbing job. It's it's
Hmm.
pretty fun. Thinking about it,
Yeah.
if I go with Pine Tree News for the name, it'll be maybe I'll do like a podcast while I'm up in a tree.
Yeah.
Just like talk to myself. Well, I guess maybe I could figure it out how to record on my phone. But I've got a microphone the whole time, so just like pine tree news would be like news from the top of a pine tree. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like up in the air. Be like, this is what I see from up in this tree.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Gets to the lay of the land. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I also got.
Fucking love the dangerous part of it. There's something about like, well, combustion engines is a thing that kind of gets old after a while, but it's still pretty cool. Like just the power of these machines. Just chainsaws, just mowing through stuff. You know, these special pants that they're called ripstop kind of thing, but they'll like jam up the chainsaw before it cuts your leg. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. You have those good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of the first things I got on Audible was the Big Five personality like psychology course on like why you are the way you are, and they labeled adrenaline junkies as high sensation seeking because like we're all on a bell curve of like, so that was like the like just the formal scholarly kind of name for it. But like Eckhart Tolle's book The Power of Now, he talks about essentially why people like these things that are like, you know, race car driving or high adrenaline things like skydiving. All this is because it forces you to be present, because any moment you slip up could be the death.
Oh yeah, and I've had a couple close calls already, and I've only been there for like a year. Like one day, I was like coming around, like we're doing a removal, right? And removal of like a spruce. So a spruce is, you know what I mean, like a Christmas tree, right? So just the shape of it is one stick all the way up, and a bunch of straight sticks coming all the way up. So we've got all the sides off, and he's like, after you get all the sides off, you top it, you take the big top off, and then he just starts moving down in his bucket, taking off like 1.5 foot chunks.
Yeah.
Or sometimes 2 foot chunks. And just throwing them down from like 30 feet in the air. So like basically 100 pounds.
So they bounce everywhere.
Oh yeah, so I'm like coming around the front of the truck and I wasn't looking up, and like a log lands like 2 feet away from me, and I was like, oh dear.
Holy shit.
That could have been my neck. So yeah. Mind you, the only real annoying injury I've had was like today, because I was putting flyers on doors, doing some marketing. And it was like
flyers on doors.
Yeah, right. That's how I get the injury. Yeah, walking around on the sidewalk. It was like it's like been warm, and it's like it warms and freezes and warm and freezes, right? So that's when everything gets slick. So it had been warm and froze and snowed like an inch while we had, you know, the first half of the morning. So I'm walking around and it's just like slippery ice everywhere, and I almost biffed it like 12 times. What's up? Is your audio connected yet? Hey.
Okay, sweet. Now I can hear you. Dope.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. How y'all doing?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well. What the fuck? How, like, we're really doing this Zoom meeting shit? Like, we're fucking in the future now.
I also just feel ancient.
We're so late to the party. Everybody's got on YouTube and the internet like fucking 10 years ago. We could have been hanging out
this whole time. What the
fuck? Time and space don't matter anymore? Or at least space. I think time, that'd be tricky though.
Time has never mattered.
No? Yeah, no. Time isn't real.
That being said,
which
like,
can never be destroyed.
What was that?
Like, time I'm not sure about, but there's definitely some phenomena as far as the passing of time. But, like, my body is definitely aging, that's for sure.
Right. Oh
Not
yeah. Oh yeah.
stoked.
So oh man. Oh they're
That's
oh
that's